Absolutely, man. Not going to do anything like that. Phil Simms was funny today, though. He was, man. Phil Simms was great today. Phil likes Caleb Williams. I'll tell you what he did like, too, was Jason Kelce's retirement speech. And, I had Gary Cobb on also, and Gary played with Mike Golic. He's going to join us here in a second. And I wonder what Mike thought, because this is what I said about Jason Kelce's retirement. It reminded me of all of our journeys. And those were tears of thankfulness. Let's bring Mike Golic in. I believe he's now doing a show with DraftKings. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well, Dan. How you doing?
What'd you make of Kelce's retirement speech?
Oh, I guess the thing I would say about it, what's he going to say in his Hall of Fame speech? I mean, he's just going to play that over again, I think. I mean, that was like a Hall of Fame speech, right? Starting when you first start football, just what you said there. We all have a journey, and that's always the thing I enjoy hearing, whether it's a retirement speech or whether it's a Hall of Fame speech, which he'll be doing as well, is I love hearing about a player's journey. We all see their stats. We all know what he had, 193 games played, 193 started, 6-time, first team All-Pro, blah, 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 up there. He's, like I said, it's going to put a gold jacket on. But I love the stories of why and how you got there, why you got there, who helped you get there. You heard from him, from the people who he was undersized, working out, working hard, working on technique. He is the way I put it on my show with my son was, he's a new school player with an old school mentality that realizes that when he had that really bad year, or when he was trying to gain weight at Cincinnati, or he had the bad year in Philly, is the only way out of it was work. And that, I just think it's a great message. There's no magic pill. There's nothing that's that you may find a way to get in the door, but then how do you stay there? It's through work, through hard work, as he said. Technique work, feet, hands, technique, foundation, fundamentals, over and over and over. You did it. I did it. Hell, when I was a kid, my dad would prepare me for football. I got my stance every day in front of a mirror, right-handed stance 50 times, left-handed stance 50 times, when I was like 8, 9 years old, just so that came natural. As we know in our sport and other sports, you do it till you don't think. And that's what he did. Undersized didn't become a problem for him. Strength didn't become a problem for him. Nothing became a problem for him because he did it over and over and over and over again, and took his lumps, but came out on top.
How about this, Mike? He was a walk-on linebacker at Cincinnati. And so, like, when you're from Cleveland, Ohio, you're in the neck of the woods of Ohio State, Notre Dame, all those places there, and you're not getting there, and you're just fortunate enough. I wonder how much that drove him, because it's kind of like a Brady story. Even though Brady went to Michigan, I get it, but he had to fight for everything. No one believed him. Mike, even you, a late drafted guy,
Yep.
You see these guys that are drafted and given all this stuff at the first, second, and third round. How much does that play into the character of a guy's journey?
I think that is a huge part. When you're one of the top picks, and we see it every year in the draft, whether it's the quarterbacks going, at the top, or whoever's going in the first round, the expectation is that you're going to be a star. That's the thought process. You're brought in to be one of the top players. So when you're not, it's about what's going to get you there. I was a 10th rounder. My son was undrafted. Kelce was a 6th rounder. Travis Kelce was a 3rd rounder. He had his own issues at Cincinnati. You have 2 guys that are going to start an onslaught of brothers going into the Hall of Fame. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's going to be the Kelces. It's going to be the Mannings. Eli will get in at some point. It's going to be the Watt brothers. And it's going to be, there's one more group of brothers I'm forgetting about. But, there's going to be an onslaught of brothers going into the Hall of Fame. And these guys had to do it. I mean, hell, Travis got kicked off the team in Cincy. His brother talked the coaches into letting him back on. So these guys had to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and get it done. They weren't when you're a first rounder, you've seen this. You're given every single opportunity. When you're a sixth rounder out of 7 rounds like Jason, when you're a 10th rounder like I was out of 12 rounds, you get a couple of reps and you have to prove yourself in those couple of reps in practice to get another rep, then to get another rep, and to build yourself up. And you have to continually prove yourself over and over again. So I do think there's a difference in how somebody approaches that and that's where the mental part comes in. The stick-to-itiveness of, just got to keep doing it, got to keep after it, I know those guys are always going to get an extra chance. I may not. I got to be right as rain every time. And it's grueling. It can be a grueling thing.
Mike, for you playing in Philly, he broached that a little bit. He goes, some guys get it, some guys don't. Darius Slay this week made a comment on another podcast, which he basically walked back and said the Eagle fans can be very toxic.
Yeah.
Which wasn't smart to do, obviously, as you know. Why is it so different to play with that fan base? Maybe the Bills would be another fan base you could put in that conversation, but why is it so different? Not difficult, I'm going to say, but different to play in Philly.
You look at kind of the blue collarness of it all. I got drafted by the Houston Oilers. That wasn't like that. Then played in Philly and then finished in Miami, and that wasn't like that. But you're right. Buffalo, Chicago, Pittsburgh. I mean, there are other. Philadelphia isn't exclusive to this, but it's where I spent most of my career. It's just, I think Jason kind of epitomizes the athlete to play there. Kind of a grizzly bear looking dude that if he wasn't playing football, he'd have a hard hat and be carrying a lunch pail to go to work at his job, but he just happens to be one of the best centers to ever play the game. And when you're in Philly, you'll get treated rough if you're not playing well, but you'll also get respected if you're playing hard. That's why Ben Simmons had a hard time with the 76ers. Fans wanted to run him out on the rails because they just didn't like the attitude and what he was putting into it. How much of it is true or not, but that's what the fans felt. You got to give a damn there. But they're hard. I'd lose a game on a Sunday, and on a Wednesday or a Thursday, I'd be at the grocery store, and if someone would come up to me and say, "What are you doing here? Why aren't you watching film?" I'd be like, "Dude, I got a life, okay? I'm getting ready for the next game, You can go game to game. I got to live my life. I got kids. I got to live a life, after practice. It's my job, but there's a life too. The expectation there, but I love it. I love playing for those fans because that's the kind of player I was. I wasn't a great player. Jason's a great player, in a blue-collar body. I was an average blue-collar player in a blue-collar body. But in Philly, man, my God, how do you not he epitomizes all that is Philadelphia.
Let me throw this at you here with that position too, Mike. I think that's going to be more of a difficult situation for them to replace because a center, let's put this out there now in the league. Creed Humphrey, Kansas City,
right?
Linderbaum, Baltimore, Ragnow in Detroit.
Yep.
Every single one of these big-time programs, Mike, has a big-time center. They set the line protection. They're there for blitz. You got a brand-new offensive coordinator and Kellen Moore coming in. And they got a kid that looks like Cam Jerkins that, he played right guard. Maybe he makes that transition in there. He's not going to be Jason Kelce, but I don't think that's going to be as seamless as a transition as a lot of people think.
No, it's not because of the trust factor of Jason at the center of making all the calls and doing everything that he did. Remember, Landon Dickerson came over in the draft and was a center at Alabama and went immediately to guard. And the thought was Jason wouldn't play that much longer and maybe Landon would take over there, but Jason kept playing and kept playing. So Landon got secure at the left guard position. So Cam had been brought there to be kind of that replacement. Yeah, you're absolutely right. When you have just the comfort of knowing your center is going to take care of everything, that's a load off the court. A quarterback's got enough that they have to worry about, right? So if the center can take a little bit of that load off the quarterback's shoulders, that's important. Now Cam's been there a couple of years, and I know he's a smart guy. So I think he'll do fine. But yes, I mean, Jason Kelce is going to the Hall of Fame. You don't just replace Hall of Fame centers. And it's not like he played the last couple of years, just hanging on. He was an all-pro the last couple of years. Him and Creed Humphrey have been basically the two best centers in the game for the last couple of years. So you don't just replace that, just to think that, and it's nothing against Cam at all, but you just don't walk in and replace a Hall of Fame player. So yeah, there'll be some growing pains for that line, which has been when healthy, one of the best lines, if not the best line in all the NFL.
Mike, I want to do a couple NFL questions with you, if I may.
Sure.
I think there's going to be a massive market for Russell Wilson, and here's why. It's not because he's Russell Wilson, early Seattle.
No.
He's Russell Wilson, where the Broncos have to pay him $39 million this year. I believe 37 next year. He can sign the league minimum, Mike, for 1.29, go to Washington, go to Pittsburgh, and he threw for 26 touchdowns and 8 picks. He wasn't horrible. You look at him and you go, I'll tell you what, he's better than anything in Pittsburgh right now and better than anything in Washington. Mike, I think he's going to have a big market. Do you?
There are those that think it's not going to be as big as you think. I'm in agreement with you. How do you not take someone like that when you can? I mean, this is unprecedented.
For free.
You can get him, yes, for free, because Denver is picking up the tab. And last year, his stats were a lot better. Now, one of the reasons his stats were better is it was his lowest yards per attempt in his career. And he's been getting his ass kicked for 2 years, 100 sacks. And I'm not using a facetious big number. He was literally sacked 100 times in the last 2 years. And as you well know, if you're sacked 100 times, that means you're hit 300 other times. That's how it works. So I look at teams looking for quarterbacks. Is Minnesota going to be, is Kirk Cousins going to be there or not? Is Atlanta, Pittsburgh, New England? Which of those teams is close to getting over the top, right? Not New England. I think they have some growing to do. I don't think Washington either. But you look at Pittsburgh. Arthur Smith takes over as the OC there. He likes that running game. They have the two-headed running back monster in Pittsburgh. That helps the quarterback out with play action pass, especially a mobile quarterback as well, of what they can do with Russell Wilson. You look in Atlanta where you got Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Algier in the backfield. That's a lot of talent there. And Zach Robinson now, I believe the old coordinator there for Raheem Morris, he comes from the Sean McVay tree, where I think that's a suitable, because remember, we always said when Sean Payton went to Denver, we all scratched our head and said, man, that Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, don't know if that's going to work. And it didn't. But I'm with you. If there's a team that's close, would you rather give it a shot with Justin Fields, who I like, by the way, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does with another team. But if you have a team that's close to, and Atlanta's in a division that's mediocre at best, Pittsburgh's in a very tough division, as we know, and Minnesota's in a division, that Detroit's running right now, but Minnesota, can have some say there. So yeah, I would be looking at a guy like Russell Wilson. And could he bridge you if you have a young quarterback for a couple of years? He could do that as well. But I agree with you. Why wouldn't you take the chance? It's not like he forgot how to play quarterback and you get him on the cheap.
I would say this to you too, Mike. Chicago 2 years ago, they had those meetings in Wyoming. You moved down with 2. You moved that pick to Washington. They take the first pick. Cliff Kingsbury, who coached him at USC as the offensive coordinator with Lincoln Riley, you bring a dual threat guy into Washington, you bring him back home, you bring Wilson up there, and you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. in the second pick. Yeah. You've got Moore and you've got Harrison for Russell Wilson in Chicago. Then you get a pick because you traded down. You get an O-lineman because this draft is pretty thick in O-lineman this year. Yeah. Isn't that how you build that thing in Chicago if you want to get back to respectability?
Well, it depends on how long it'll take you to build, because, you're looking at Russell, how many years you got to say this is going to build. So by the time – now I like them when they traded for Montez Sweat. They gave him the big deal. They got secure there on the rusher there. But it's just a matter of how long it's going to take you. And when you're finally getting there, is your quarterback, a little long in the tooth at that point? That would be my only wonder there. We have seen teams turn it around quickly without question, but that would be my only question, is how quickly could Chicago turn it around?
You think Fields is on the move?
Oh, I think he has to be. You know GMs in this league. They're scared to death that if they don't make a move in the draft because of what everybody expects out of these quarterbacks, that they're going to look foolish when that quarterback hits. When we damn well know 5 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round, 2 to 3 are probably going to be busts. That's just the way it works. That's just the math we have seen over the years. But GMs can't help themselves. They've seen Justin Fields work with different offensive coordinators. Again, I like him, but he's turned the ball over a lot. I thought Luke Getsy did not use him very well on Chicago when I called a few of those games. But they're going to say, okay, we've seen some adjusting, but the P word of the guys that haven't been drafted yet, potential, is too great for us to pass on. So I absolutely think Chicago's taking Caleb Williams. And then you have to trade. You're going to trade Justin. You're not going to get a boatload for him because everybody knows you got to trade him. So you're not going to get a boatload for him, but yeah, I think I think they're going to make that move.
2 last questions here for you, Mike. And I completely agree with you here, especially when you're talking about moving a guy, but I want to throw this at you here. I threw it out to Sims earlier on the program. Listen to this stat, Mike. In the last 32 years, 97% of the snaps in Green Bay have been taken by 3 dudes. Favre, Rodgers, and Jordan Love. And if you're Chicago, there lies your problem, and the difference between the organizations is what you just said. Chicago's on the conveyor belt like Cleveland's been for many years when it comes to the quarterback deal. And you look at what they do up there. They get that position right. Why does Green Bay get it right and so right, and Chicago doesn't?
Listen,
is it patience?
It's a great question because, and in Cleveland as well, and you can't blame one particular GM or one particular coaching staff because both these teams, Chicago and Cleveland, have been through multiple coaches and multiple GMs who have never gotten the quarterback position right. So, I mean, listen, it's scouting, right? It's scouting. It's doing your work on who you're going to draft and then how you develop that talent. And they haven't been able to do it. And, I mean, look at the Packers. Remember, they didn't draft Favre. He was in Atlanta, and they brought him over and turned him into a Hall of Famer. And then, obviously, with Aaron and Jordan has come along nicely. I wish I had an answer for you. And I wish – and those fan bases would love to know the answer as well because they can't point the finger at one person because owners have brought in coaches and brought in GMs, and multiples of those have gotten it wrong. But that just goes to show again why it's a 50% hit rate when you take a quarterback in the first round. Unfortunately for Chicago, the Jets, and Cleveland, it has been pretty much less than 50% on that hit rate.
Absolutely. Finally here, Mike, Dak Prescott, $60 million decision that I mean, why wouldn't you just go Baker Mayfield, pay $35 million, take some of that money, and build your team? Now you're going to move on from Tyron Smith. You've moved on from Amari Cooper. You're getting further away from the Super Bowl the more you pay this guy. I mean, and I know, Mike, and here's the thing. Do you believe in the next 4 years under a brand new contract that Dak Prescott's going to deliver a Super Bowl? I don't.
Well, my question is always who you're going to get. And you brought up somebody. At least you give an answer. Others just say, who you're going to get. You're saying Baker Mayfield. Okay, here. You get rid of Dak, you now have a $61 million dead cap hit. We just saw an $85 million dead cap hit with Russell Wilson over 2 years, which is more than Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan were first and second at $40 million each. He now, did that Russell Wilson combined. But Dak is a $61 million dead cap hit. Do you want to incur that? Or do you want to extend this guy? Yeah, we were talking about him, Dan, as an MVP candidate during the season. We were never
great year, Mike.
We were never talking about Baker Mayfield as an MVP candidate. And listen, I love what Baker is doing, and I agree with you. You'll get Baker more on the cheap. But to me, it's a no-brainer to extend Dak. You can't live with a $59 million cap hit if you let him play out this year on the contract. You can't do it. Else, just like you don't want a $61 million dead cap hit, dead money, if you get rid of him. So I think you got to extend him and lower the cap by extending him, restructuring, extend. You now lower the cap hit and you keep going. I mean, it's a team that was 12-5. I called the playoff game when they just got, just smacked around. They didn't play well and Green Bay did. Right? I mean, that's how it went.
Won 36 games in the last 3 years, Mike. But I look at Dak and I go, okay, I look at Dak Prescott and I see Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I'm with you. And if I'm Minnesota, I probably try and bring Kirk Cousins back because
I want to bring him back too.
Yeah.
If I'm going to pay, Mike, if I'm going to pay $28 million for Justin Jefferson, I'm not bringing him back for Tyrod Taylor.
So, I mean, here's the thing. You sign Baker Mayfield to $35 million, or he's a $35 million cap hit, and you extend Dak to now he's a $40 or $45 million cap hit. I still like my chances with Dak more than I do Baker Mayfield. Baker played well, had his best year touchdown-wise, 28 touchdowns, but you still kind of fear the turnover like you did with Dak 2 years ago, but Dak didn't turn the ball over as much this year. I still think they're better off with Dak. Listen, Tyron Smith has been injured the last couple of years. He's missed time. While I'd love to see him finish his career in Dallas because he's a walk-in first ballot Hall of Famer, I get why you're going to move on because he's been injured and you're going to have another guy usually on the field anyway. So you save some money there. So I restructure Dak. I extend Dak. I keep him there. I lower the cap hit and I keep trying to go and build off those wins.
Awesome stuff, Mike. Tell folks how they can get your show. I believe it's DraftKings with you and your boy. By the way, I tuned in the other day. You guys are killing it, man. It was really a great show. Tell folks how they can find you.
Oh, God, this is always, this is where I need Mike, man. This new streaming, Samsung TV Plus.
Hey, Mike, you should have seen today. Phil Sims wanted to kill my my producer, who was part owner of the company. He's going, I can't get this. I got it. What is StreamYard? What is it?
Oh, my God. Isn't it unbelievable?
It is.
It is something else. So listen, I love, it's DraftKings YouTube channel, DraftKings.com, Samsung TV Plus, Roku, what is it, Fubo or whatever. I mean, I don't know all this stuff. People ask me, boy, what's the difference in talking radio and streaming? I said, I don't know a difference because there's a microphone. I talk into the microphone and it gets distributed wherever the people I work for distribute it. I haven't changed. I'm still talking the same I did, but my God, it's all over the place. All the streaming services you can get, like I said, YouTube as well. We're on radio now as well. So there's a lot of different ways to get us. And that DraftKings is probably always mad at me when I do this because I'm just kind of clueless about all this stuff.
Will you make sure you tell your son that I'm extremely jealous of him because I was a New Haven Register all-stater once, and that dude was a two-time New Haven Register all-stater. And me and Steve Young have a cow with him. I go, Golic's kid's a two-time all-state guy. He's from upstate Connecticut. And Steve Young goes, I didn't even make New Haven. I made the coaches all-state team. And I'm like, yeah, Golic's kid, he's a two-time New Haven, because Pazzulli was the other guy from my school that was a two-time. So I'm jealous of your boy, man.
Yeah, but you know what? For Steve, I think it all worked out pretty well, though. I think.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, where you going to college? Where do you think I'm going? Brigham Young? Duh.
And then the Hall of Fame as well. Right. Yeah, it all worked out.
All worked out. Mike, thank you so much for your time. You're always kind to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mike.
You got it, Dan. See you.
You got it. The great Mike Golic, man, joining us as he always does. Don't forget to check his show out on DraftKings. Really a great guy. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.